The parasha of Beha'alotcha, which is in the middle of Sefer Bamidbar, has a very interesting interesting sign inside the parasha. It's written. We call it in Hebrew Nun Hafucha, like brackets. And we're using it for halacha. Lo aleinu, in Masechet Shabbat it talks about what happens if there is a fire on Shabbat. So the Mishnah says, Kol Kitvei HaKodesh, all the holy script like Torah, Nevi'im, Kektubim, we have to save them from getting burned. And as you know, we try to find in the Gemara, what do we call Torah? What is the minimum or maximum size for Torah? At least minimum size. And because of this, the Gemara brings interesting saying from Rabbi Yonatan, that he says that if there is an old Sefer Torah that it has inside at least 85 letters that you can read from, it's still considered to be a Sefer Torah. Less than 85 letters, it doesn't consider to be a Sefer Torah, it's just a holy thing. Meret HaGemara, where is coming 85 letters? It's a holy name or something. So the Gemara says, Amar Shmuel Amar Bar Nachman Amar Rabbi Yonatan. There is a pasuk in Mishlei that Shlomo Melech is teaching us. Chatzva Amudei Shiv'ah, talking about the foundation of the world. 7 foundations of the world. What are the 7 foundations? Omer Rabbi Yonatan, Elu Shiv'ah Sifrei Torah. Our Torah has not 5 chomashim, there are 7. How it goes? It goes Bereshit 1, Shmot 1, Vayikra 1, Bamidbar until the first Nun is 4th one. The inside between the brackets, Vayibin So Aaron, 5th one. The rest of Bamidbar, 6th one, and Sefer Dvarim is the 7th one. This is, we spoke about in the past. And because book number 5 is in between the brackets and over there, Vayibin So Aaron, there are 85 letters, we consider 85 letters the minimum size of a Sefer Torah to save him in a time of fire. This is when we come to 85. But and many, in the past we discussed about this, what does it mean? It was this 7 and 5 as opposed to 5. Today we are going to discuss about, according to this, what is the book of number 6. Number 6, the book is between Vayibin So Aaron and Sefer Dvarim, which is going to cover Parashat Ba'alotcha, Parashat Shlach Lecha, Parashat Korach, Parashat Chukat, Parashat Balak, Matot and Mas'ei, according to this division. And we would call this Chumash the Chumash with the problems. Chumash HaMit'onenim. In Hebrew, to lit'onen, it means those who complain. And I'm going just to give you a short summary about this 6th book of Torah, this part of Sefer Bamidbar. What is the issues inside? First of all, we talk about the Mit'onenim who start to complain in vain. Then we go to those who say, we remember the cucumbers, the melons, the onions that we ate free in Egypt. Then it says, a fire came and killed the Ktzinim and Gdolim, the Midrash says, all the leaders of Am Israel. Then we talk about the desire to have meat. We don't want man. We want something feasible, tangible. We need it. And we see over there when they eat the meat, when they collect the meat, each of them collected maybe 1 ton of meat that he would never eat in 50 years, but he needed it. We talk about Am Israel crying and complain to Moshe Rabbeinu, why do they have to divorce their not permissible wives? Besides that, there is a beautiful midrash that explain why now suddenly they complain about their wives. It was in Midbar Sinai already. What's happened now? So when I saw the midrash in Sefer Chachamim, he brings, "V'ani shamati b'shem mincha blula," that when the man used to come, every father was to collect for his children. And if lo aleinu, a woman or a man were cheating lo aleinu, so the real father would get a portion of his son. And by this, the man really used to explain who is who, the true things. So when they complain, they say, we need it. All the secrets are going to be now revealed to... this is one midrash. But according to the pshat, if somebody starts to complain, it goes allegro vivace. It goes along, all the way. So now he complains and they say, why Moshe Rabbeinu is separating us? Who is he? We continue.
This is before the Matan Torah or after?
You just missed the introduction. I explained them that according to Rabbi Yonatan, they divides the Chamisha Chumashim to 6 to 7 pieces. So this is in Sefer Bamidbar, after the brackets of Vayhi bin So Aaron, the last part of Sefer Bamidbar. It's after the second year, after they got the Torah, they built the Mishkan, and now they left Midbar Sinai. They have to go to Israel. This one we start now.
Another question. Usually a person, when, like one time you said, usually a slave, the slave will always be inside of him. Since Am Israel is the slaves, and they have all what they have in their mentality, they never knew what about Hashem, what about this, because they were already 400 years in Mitzrayim. How much can we expect? Even you take a worker from one office to another office, will take him digest at least a couple years to come to this.
No.
How would you expect the Am Israel in 1 minute to change all the parable, all their whatever they used to have? Let's say a person used to be something over there. He came from Russia to America. He cannot find himself sometimes. In anything usually in life, we're saying that they were complaining. They're complaining, maybe it started with one person, then it connects to another person.
Let's work on it. I see what you say, but I'm not over to say they are wrong. I don't say they're right or wrong. I try to learn from their behavior something for myself. I'm not here to judge nobody, who I am and who you are. The only thing is over here we learn somebody's behavior and we try to learn, can we learn from this something to make us a better people or not?
Not to complain, yes. We have to learn this.
Yeah, but see how it goes. So now it's become about their wives and children, wife to separate, and why this? Then Moshe Rabbeinu came and said, Ribono shel Olam, you know what? Do me a favor and just kill me. That's what he said, Organi na'arog, I cannot handle it anymore. And Hashem told him, I'm going to give you 70 people, and then he put Eldad Umeida, two of them, they didn't want to join them. No, we don't want to join you. And they were become prophets inside the Machaneh. And then, when they're eating the meat with all their ta'ava, Hashem is punishing them. And then Miriam and Aaron are talking slander against Moshe Rabbeinu and his wife. And then, what do we have? The spies. They start to talk about all the gossips and the Lashon Hara against the land of Israel. And then they want to kill Yehoshua and Caleb, that they will say, no, you're wrong. It's a beautiful place we are going to. And afterwards, when the punishment of the Meraglim, and every Tisha B'Av, 9th of Av, there is thousands of people who are dying when they are digging their own graves. And afterwards they start to go to Israel against the will of Moshe, and they were attacked by the Amalekim. And over there, then Moshe Rabbeinu is telling them, you have to keep Shabbat, and one person tried to violate, the first person in the Jewish history that violated Shabbat in the desert when it was forbidden. And after there's Korach ve'adato, that they are talking against Moshe Rabbeinu. And then Miriam death and the disappearing of the water of the well of Miriam. And Aaron HaKohen is dying, and the clouds are going to disappear for a while. And we see all the time that everything goes bad now. This is the Chumash. It's full of a lot of negative energy. And everybody is asking, why it starts? Where is the breaking point? What happened? Why to start to complain? And I think that the answer is where it goes. We can find it in the beginning of Sefer Dvarim, when Moshe Rabbeinu is telling to Am Yisrael the history of Judaism, and he's telling them, we came to the Mount Sinai place on Rosh Chodesh Sivan, about Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, after 3 months since we left Egypt. And we were there for almost a year, less than 10 days. And we got the Torah, and Moshe Rabbeinu went to heaven, and he brought in Yom Kippur the second Luchot, and we built the Mishkan, and we learned Torah every day, and it was a beautiful time. And then, now the time came to go to Israel. And apparently, they didn't want to go to Israel. And now we start the period of this breaking period, when your destination and God's destination become separate issues. The destination that Hashem wanted us is to go to Israel, to conquer the land, and to live in Israel. And those in the desert says, we like it over here, leave us alone. So there is a slight difference, or a big difference between my will and Hashem's will. And when there is my will and Hashem's will is separate, what do we start? We call it in Hebrew to complain. Leitlonen. There is a rabbi in America. Once I used to respect him, and then once he say that he erased from his Siddur the blessing of Shelo Asani Isha, because he feels it's discriminating the woman and the man. Huh? This rabbi said. I told him, but this is a Baraita, this is a Gemara, this is Halacha. He said, in our generation, there is no differences anymore. I told him, when we say, Shelo Asani Isha, and the woman said, Baruch She'asani Kirtzonoi, not because we are complaining about something, it's because we say thank you, that this is the God will to form us, to make His will happen. Is to take from us, like Shelo Asani Goy, Shelo Asani Aved, Shelo Asani Isha. They say, blessed be Hashem, He didn't create me as a Goy. If you see the way the Goyim living in their Shulchan Aruch, their life is much easier than Jews' life. So what we just say to Hashem, Ribono Shel Olam, we are here to accept our tools that you gave us as a source of what? As a source to fulfill your will. And I'm not over here discriminating nobody. I'm not over here saying somebody is better or somebody is worse. I just say, this is the way Hashem wants me to worship Him. And this is why I say thank you. Because sometimes you start to complain why I was born like this, why I'm literally, why my parents like this, all this why question, that it's a beginning of a complaint process that make people far away from Hashem. Rashi, when he talks about the word complain, he says the follow. What is mean to complain? אין מתאוננים אלא לשון עלילה. מה זה עלילה? עלילה is called an excuse. I'm looking for excuse to fight. Bonakovi, in a free translation. מבקשים עלילה, I'm looking for a reason, איך לפרוש מאחורי המקום, not to follow the will of God. וכן הוא אומר בשמשון, כי תואנה הוא מבקש. So what is the point now? Where is the breaking point? Why do we call this part of Bamidbar as a certain, as a different, as one entity, separate entity? Because over here there is a big crisis. Because I am as a Jew, I say to myself, I don't want, God forbid, to follow Hashem's way. I want my way. And now, when in this breaking point, you start to complain. But this complaint is not because you're really complaining. You are justifying. You are running away from Hashem. האיך לפרוש מאחורי המקום. Let me explain this because it's a very important thing that applies to us. When a person is confused on his way of life, what is the real demands from Hashem from him? When a person is confused and he doesn't know, he doesn't accept, he doesn't want to accept what Hashem wants from him, he creates inside of him a negative energy. This negative energy can have many forms. Can be anger, very angry person. Can be aggravation, frustration, complaining, he's not happy with himself, the way he looks, the way he talks and everything. And this negative energy, the source is because he put himself aside. He doesn't follow the track that Hashem wants him. This difference, this is the source of this evil. Professor de Jong, a big psychiatrist, he told a story that he had one of his patients, he suffered from psychosis, fears, anger, all kind of problems. And once he asked him, he came to him for therapy, so he told him, tell me about your life. And he told him that in his life, he is a teacher, he works in the high school, he's getting $40,000, $50,000 a year, and he tells to him that he goes every month to vacation over here. So the rabbi is telling him, the doctor is telling him, what you're telling me, you have to get at least $200,000 a year with all the trips that you are doing. How do you get this money? He said, I tell you the secret. There is an old woman, old widow, that fell in love with me. And I keep promising her that I'm going to marry her. And because of this, she takes me to vacation, she brings me, and she is loaded with money. And this is why I make my life. So Professor Jung told him, maybe because you do something wrong, it kills you from the inside and you become sick like this.
It's called internal conflict.
And he burst. And he said, wait a minute. You became a rabbi, you became a priest. You have to help me. So this is your problem. This conflict between yourself is the source of your sickness. And this is, I believe, one way of understanding what happened in the desert. Why they start to complain? Because the will of Hashem and their will create a conflict between them. And this is the source of a lot of anxiety, depression, anger, all the why? Because he knows inside that he's doing something wrong, but he's doing it anyhow. And this up and down create this negative tension that eventually is going to, if he doesn't do tshuva, to spiritually kill him. But this is one direction. With your permission, we'll go to a different direction. In Judaism, the model of thinking is two powers, the good and the evil. And each of us, we have two entities, two personalities. In psychology, they call this classic field of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But this is something to sick people. But every person has inside himself the two different personalities, the good Moshe and the better Moshe. There is the good Joseph and the better Joseph. When he wants or when she wants, they are very nice and very sweet and very receptive and very smiling. But when they want, they are very tough. They are very angry. They are very evil. They are very nasty. The same person. Not because he's sick, because these two energies are inside of him. And he has to choose which one he wants to use, the good or the bad. If you use the good one, then you become very optimistic, you believe in everybody, you hope, you have will. I'm studying with my student now in Daf Yomi about Masechet Sotah. If somebody suspects his wife, the Gemara starts and say, this Masechet is b'diavad. We don't. It's a mistake. This it's a mistake that happened. Why? Because people that are jealous, most of the cases, something wrong with them. And over there, the Gemara says that he can take his wife once in life, because if not, it can be every 2 weeks. And the Gemara says over here, I don't want him. You have problem, go to see a psychologist. Because most of them are like this. Jealousy is a sickness, it goes to both sides. But it's a sickness. So when you hope and you trust and you kind and you feel more motivated, energy, positive, you approach your good side, the pure side. And there will be days that you can be depressed, despair, frustrated, aggravated, angry, full of hatred, jealousy, become nasty. The same person. Why? Because the approach is negative side.
Evil self.
The evil self. And we try to find today what is the keys to go there. How can I trigger my good side and my bad side? How can I get there? What is the access to this? What is the code? So about the good sides, we know it from the Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch is just for this, all the Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch says like this. The first thing in the Shulchan Aruch. You open your eyes, you have to wash your hands. No, you have to move. No. You open your eyes. What you do? You have to start the good access. You say, Ribono Shel Olam, Modeh Ani, Hashem, thank you for a beautiful day. Why? You can say, you know what, go to wash your hands, take a shower, drink your coffee, then talk whatever you want. Why? Because we are afraid that you might, until you're going to take the shower, you're going to destroy the world in these 15 minutes. Because if you didn't start in the first moment on your day with this positivity, it's going to start. To my husband, my in-laws, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, and until you're going to wash your hands, your day is over already. You didn't even start it. You're emotionally, you're spiritually, and energetic-wise, you start when the battery is low. How do you get to your evil side? What is the access to our evil side? Start to complain. Just start to complain. Do nothing else. sit in your bed and tell to yourself, another day now, to clean the house, to go to school, to go to work. Who needs it? Finish. Your day is over already. You came to your negative side. The next step is going to be to his spouse. What are you doing? To the children, why this, and this, and start the whole day. And the access it's immediate access. You don't have to be more than, if you are not alert, if for the next 2-3 minutes, it's the end of the day, before you started. And this chapter of all this evil and problems and anger and this death and punishment and despise start from one word: looking for complaints. How destructive and how dangerous if you start to complain. The Yetzer Hara, let's even go a bit deeper. When people complain, is because they are not happy with themselves. When you complain about your spouse, you usually complain about yourself. Because what bothers you, you see it on them. And but the Yetzer Hara is very smart. He's telling you, I am not an angry person, they make me angry. I don't want to curse, but they force me. My husband forces me to curse him, or my wife, or like this, which is a big lie. You are doing it because you want to do it. You! But you cannot tell to yourself that you are such a wonderful person. So you found a box bag and you start to eat as your spouse. Verbally this, but it's come because you are not happy with yourself. So it's this complaining, usually it's a sign of low self-esteem and problem with something you don't like with yourself, and then you start to complain. And when you take the aggravation out, of course, the other person is the scapegoat. The Gemara brings an example, beautiful example. 2 people came to one house to eat. They left the house, they go to their homes, and their mother says, "Hi, what happened over there?" אומרת הגמרא, a good guest will say, "Wow, they accepted me like a king. They served me 2 kinds of fish, 2 kinds of food, 10 salads on the table. Each one got his own bulishka, his own challah rolls, and we got a dessert. It was such a beautiful thing. God bless them." What is the best guest say to his mother? אני такий жадный. There's such, Adam Nestan. There were just 2 kinds of fish. What about me? At least 3 should be on the table. And just 2 kinds of food. Which kind of behavior this? They even bring us no samsa, no dushpera, no nothing. They brought me this on the table. And there was just 1 kind of... And they start to complain. How the Gemara calls the first one? A good guest. How they call the Torah the second one? An evil guest. Now I want to ask you, maybe the one who talks about so highly, maybe is really exaggerating. Maybe it was just there over there, just a tuna fish and lax and something over there. And he really wanted, like mantid, something, so he can... maybe he's right. אומרת הגמרא, no, he's wrong. How do we know he's wrong? Because in Hebrew, when you say I, you say ani. And the word ani and ayin mean nothing. Ani and ayin are the same letters. If you come to the house with expectations and thoughts, it means you come something wrong. Because if you get something and you ate something, you say thank you for this. If you'll teach yourself to appreciate what you have and not what you don't have, you start to understand what Hashem wants from you. Usually the source of this aggravation is what I think I would accept. And it's It's every time I'm telling this to you, I see it all the time, and it's really, really interesting when people going to weddings or to bar mitzvot. Should be very important event, happy event. Their cousin, somebody got married, mazal tov. We are the Bukharian people. We make the kiddushin 2 hours before over there in the headquarters, where all the phone calls are calling, the cell phone and everything. And you have to listen. He's calling somebody. If you put me next to this person in this table, I am not coming. Forget about me. And he's calling and he say, I have to go into the aisle. I am number 1 or number 2. And all this cheshbonot and accounting. And you say, wait a minute, you come to make Chatan v'Kala happy. Hey! You know who I am. And he makes his life so miserable. So he wasn't number 1 on the list. He was number 2. And then what? The end of the world. He goes and he's get upset and he's cursing and he's this and he doesn't want to go and he said over there. What happened to him? You are laughing at him, but for him, it's the end of the world. Why? Because he's using his evil energy, and this evil energy is going to give him so much aggravation and almost and spiritually kill him. He doesn't enjoy the wedding. He doesn't make the mitzvot. This, when I became Ain. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is leading this world. The only energy in this world is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All of us, we are just over here, Slugan Narod. We come over here just to do what Hashem asks us to do. We don't come over here to judge nobody, especially not Hashem. Hashem, why? זה נקרא בעברית, הטיח דברים כלפי מעלה. Hashem, I want to know the answer. And when people start to judge and ask and want to understand, then we start mitlonenim, the complaint thing. And then all the lives become like big nightmare. How can we not come to this level? It's very easy. In order to come to this appreciation is to teach ourselves that in all circumstances to try to be kind to each other. Don't let your evil energy take over. Don't. So you tell me, Rabbi, but I'm eating myself from the inside. No. Don't eat yourself from the inside. Try to be kind, because by start to be kind, you create good energies around you. And this energy is going to take slowly the bad energy from you. But start to do something good. There is a beautiful Gemara. The Gemara says, if somebody smiles to a person, he makes a big mitzvah. And when Hashem is going to ask us, after 120 years, how many donation we give, we'll tell him, how much you gave us. We say, I meant, if you could use your tongue to say good words to your husband, to your wife, to your children, to your parents, this is called charity too. When you tell to your husband every morning, my husband, you are the best husband in the world. It's a charity. If the husband tells to his wife, I am the chosen person, my wife, Hashem gave me the best gift. Why you're so embarrassed? Why you're so loving that? Maybe because you're doing it already, I have to teach you something else to say.
Yes.
But to say this is what we call to be this kind of kind words, kind energy, good energy, taking all the bad energy out. And start to look at the small things. Once, few of our people were sitting, and they complained that they got so many invitations for weddings and smachot that they have to have another salary just for these events. And there was over there an old Holocaust survivor, and he stood up and he said, let me tell you something. I wish it will be your last problem in life. Because when we were in the conцlager, say, believe me, our hope is to go to weddings and to bar mitzvot. This should be your last worry in life. And he gave us a certain proportion to our complaint. Our complaint is, look, like there was a story about a girl that she got for her 18th birthday party, she got from her parents a new car. And she wants to commit suicide because it was a different color that she asked. So I understand that a different color is it's a big crisis, but to commit suicide and go depressed, I think it's a bit too much. But if somebody is losing the proportions, if somebody is losing the relativity of what is good and bad and what is, then he starts all this complaint, and this is the prescription of headaches. When I was a child, God blessed me with a person in my neighborhood in Israel that he was a Holocaust survivor. He was a very religious person. And I knew that those who had to go to the Holocaust, a lot of them had a lot of tests in belief and questions. And he was religious, and he was running a synagogue, and he was... So when I told him, Mr. Israel, explain me. You lost your parents, brother, sister. You just came with one sister, uncles, and you were working in Auschwitz. His job was to take the bodies from the leftover from the crematorium. He said, this kind of, just to look at this, people getting crazy. Tell me, how did you stay religious? And he told me that our Rebbe taught us not to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but try to do the mitzvot. So his Rebbe was with them in the ghetto. So they used to go to work from 9 to 5. On Shabbat, they have to work, but they used to come at 5 o'clock, and until 7 o'clock, it's still Shabbat. So these 2 hours, they took all their stuff, they didn't touch the light, used to pray Mincha of Shabbat, make some much of Sudash Lishit, and sing the Sudash Lishit. Why? Now we have 2 hours to keep Shabbat. All day we can, but these 2 hours. And he said that when there was Sukkot, and the Nazis didn't let us to put Sukkah, so we took permission that we have to make extension, and we put a beam on a second floor, like renovation. And we used to go in the morning and say Lishev Sukkah and continue. But at least to do. So I told him, this is what you were thinking he said, of course. So what Hashem wanted like this. So what can we do? But what is belongs to us, we have to keep it in the right way. So whatever we have to go through life is not my destiny. It's not my decision. Whatever belongs to me, I have to do. And this is the way he survived the Holocaust, and he built a wonderful house. And when I was, this maybe 30 years ago, he gave me this book. And this book for me is the Tehillim that I usually in Chodesh Elul on this. I like to read it. This book was written by his rabbi. His rabbi was killed by the Germans in 1944 in Lublin, and this book was written in ghetto Warsaw. The story of this book is called Esh Kodesh. It's called The Flame of Holiness. And the rabbi on every Friday and Saturday used to give Shur Torah in the ghetto. And before the ghetto was destroyed, he took it and he buried it underground in a big vase. And it's written over there, there was a small letter over there that whoever gets it after the war, if he is alive, to give it to him. If not, to send it to Israel to his nephew. This is the letter that he put inside the vase. It's and over there, you read this Divrei Torah, and you read Divrei Torah like every rabbi who gives Parashat HaShavua. And but we know that when they came to ghetto Warsaw in 1940 already, so Lo Aleinu, his mother passed away, his wife passed away, his children, his grandchildren, his dead. He left alone. And all the tortures, and thousands of people are dead and killed and kidnapped, and he gives Divrei Torah. And the beauty of his Divrei Torah, that is like every rabbi Divrei Torah that talks on Friday night. And you tell to yourself, wait a minute, you don't hear the bombing outside. You don't see the kidnaps. You don't see this. So he says, Dvar Torah. Tamim tiyeh im Hashem Elokecha. You have to be pure and innocent with your God. This Divrei Torah was saying by him in 1943, 1 year before he was killed, 3 years after he lost all his family. Lo aleinu. And he says, Rashi explains, Italech imo betmimut. Don't ask questions. ותצפה לו. And you have to wait until Hashem is going to reveal to you. ולא תחקור אחר העתידות. And don't ask questions about future. This is not your department. אלא כל מה שיבוא עליך קבל בתמימות. Accept everything that Hashem is telling you. This is what Hashem wants, and you just be patient. ואל תהיה עמו ולחלקו. Don't complain. Don't disagree. פשוט, אפילו לומר לא תחקור אחר העתידות, כי כל האיש על העתיד מקבל על עצמו לעבוד את השם, מחר ומחרתיים יהיה טוב, ורק בהווה יצר מפתהו. So we say, about the future I understand, people have hope, but about the present sometimes people have questions. I say, no, don't ask this question, even in the present. ועוד, אפשר לומר, that when Moshe Rabbeinu is telling to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I am going to speak to Paro, but Am Yisrael are not going to listen to me because they are so in hardship. How Paro will listen to me? So we say, which kind of Kal Vachomer is this? They are under a lot of problems, and they cannot listen to Moshe Rabbeinu. But Paro is a free person. Why this Kal Vachomer? Because it's a lot of pressure on Am Yisrael. Paro will not listen. So he says that, אבל בספרי, my father, when he used to say about this parasha, he explains that nevertheless, because they are in pressure, they have to be more obedient to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to be more happy b'bsora tova. Because when a person is in a very tough situation and hear good news, he has to feel much elevated. But Moshe was afraid because they are so desperate, they are so sad. Therefore we say, וזה מה שאמר, בני ישראל לא שמעו לי אף שיהיה לטובתם, מפני שכבר נשבר רוחם ועצמותם, ואין רוחו של ישראל נמצא כבר. והנה בכל הצרות, all the problems that we have to know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to come and to help us and going to save us, and we should not be weak, and we should believe, and we should go forward in our life. When this happened, this Divrei Torah, during the Holocaust in Ghetto Varsha, 1943, it's about to the last steps of Ghetto Varsha, and he is giving them Divrei Torah like every rabbi, like every Divrei Torah. Why? Because he understands that it's very difficult, but he understands that we are not here to ask questions. Because when you start to ask questions, you start to trigger your negative energy. You start to have all kind of problems, and this negative energy, complaints and problems, and this is the end of everything. So, when before Rosh Hashanah, or before the Yemim Noraim, when I want to see the Tehillim of our days, I'm using this book, which is a beautiful book of how a religious person should not fight with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, should live with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, should not ask questions that nobody has answers, he should accept and go forward. And I believe that to finish this, I would like to tell you a story that the Rebbe of Buhush in Eretz Israel, a Holocaust survivor, used to say to his students every Yom Kippur, and I think it applies to what I was telling you today. What is the demands of the Torah from us? The Rebbe, when he was in the he was working in the concentration camp, and he was doing over there small jobs, and there was a law: he should not speak to people who are coming from the shipments, because they come from the shipments, they go straight to the crematorium, but they have to take off their clothing, and they are promised after they're cleaning themselves to send to the east, but they were just killing them. So one of the ladies who came from the shipment, from the train, she came and she said to the Rebbe, she said, "Rebbe, do you have a blade?" And the Rebbe thought that she wants to commit suicide because all many problems, and this mishugat, it's overwhelmed. So the rabbi told her, "You are a Jew, you have to believe, don't do anything." He said, Rabbi, give me a blade." And then the Nazi, one of the officers saw him, and he came and say, "Don't talk to nobody." So the rabbi she say she wants blade. I tried to tell her not to do it. I say, "Blade? Oh." So he was thinking she would like to commit suicide in front of him. So he took a blade from his pocket and he gave it to her. Under her arm, she was holding something, and when she took the knife, the blade, she opened it. In the train, she had a baby boy that he was dead already, the small body of a baby boy. And she says, "Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, asher geshem mitzvah ala milah," and she made the brit to the son. And she said to this Nazi, "Thank you, now I can die peacefully, that my son didn't die without circumcision." The rabbi said, I was crying, turned to myself, what is bothering a Jewish woman 1 hour before she's going to die, burned to ashes, or killed by this gas? That, how can I come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu when my child is not circumcised, even though he's dead? In these kind of moments, people can have other questions and start with a lot of list of complaints. If they are not cursing, if they are not aggravated, frustrated. She didn't mind. She said, "I'm here to do something, but I have to go in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu when my son at least is circumcised." This is what the demand of the Torah from us. The question is, do we understand the poison? Do we understand the danger when we start to complain? So, our sages were kind enough to put Sefer Bamidbar as one piece, before and after, to make it one Sefer Bamidbar, because we call it in the desert, like a process of growing up. But according to Rabbi Yonatan, this chumash of all these negative things that start from people who are looking for excuses to be upset, this is one of the biggest problems that we are facing over here in a country that gave us this freedom, and Baruch Hashem, there is enough food on the table, and there are nice houses and homes and cars and everything, but still, because of all this negative and dealing with not important issues, we make our life to a nightmare. This week I had to be involved in a very nasty divorce case of one couple in our community, which God blessed them with everything. Husband and wife, nice, healthy, extremely successful. They live in a palace. They have wonderful children. Everybody is healthy. They have everything in their life. But they are miserable. And they are divorced without no reason. And I try to explain them, but all this complaining and all this negative break into pieces, and there is no justification. So, let's start our week with a positive attitude and say to Hashem, thank you to what that we have, and to be nice to each other and be nice to our spouses. And maybe by next week Mashiach will come. Shavua Tov.